Summer's supposed to be the easy season. So why are so many people quietly Googling a therapist between summer Fridays? Because more daylight doesn't fix the hard stuff. Sometimes it just turns the volume up. Grow does therapy differently. Therapy is not only for when you're in crisis. Grow Therapy is here for all the moments when you decide you want more. More support, more clarity, more tools. Mental health isn't a destination you reach, it's something you build, and Grow makes that easier. Grow connects you with thousands of high-quality licensed therapists across the U.S., offering both virtual and in-person sessions, nights and weekends. You can search by what matters, like insurance, specialty, identity, or availability, and get started in as little as 2 days. There are no subscriptions, no long-term commitments. You just pay per session. Grow helps you find therapy on your time. The therapist you want takes your insurance on Grow. Grow accepts over 125 insurance plans. Sessions average $21 with insurance, and some pay as little as $0 depending on their plan. Visit growtherapy.com/booknow today to get started. That's growtherapy.com/booknow. growtherapy.com/booknow. Availability and coverage vary by state and insurance plan.
Hey, what's up, everybody? This is your podcast host, Hanju Lee, and you are listening to Better Golf Daily, where I introduce one concept, one research-backed idea, and one thing you can take straight to the golf course. Let's go. Here's a question that might mess with your head a little. Picture the smoothest swing you've ever seen. One of those pro swings that looks like it costs zero effort. Now picture your own swing, the one that feels like work every single time. Here's a strange part. That gap probably isn't about strength. It's not about flexibility. It's not even about how many hours you've logged in on the range. It might just come down to, wait for it, order. The order that things happen in. Okay, stick with me because this one's going to change how you think about where power actually comes from. This is part 2 of our 5-part series called Science of Swing, inspired by the book The Science of Golf by Will Haskett. Quick recap before we get into it. Last time we talked about impact, that split second where club face meets the ball, and we got into a smash factor and something called the gear effect. Basically, why a center strike beats a hard and fast swing every time, and why off-center hits curve in a way that it feels like bad luck, but are actually just physics. If you missed it, it's worth going back to after this one. Today, we're moving to a different part of the swing entirely. What happens before impact even gets a chance? We're getting into something called kinematic sequence. It's really just a fancy way of describing the order your body moves during the downswing. Let's start here. Have you ever cracked a whip or even just seen one on TV or snapped a towel? Okay, here's a whip. The handle moves first, just a little bit, and then motion travels down the whip, picking up the speed the whole way until the very tip is snapping through the air faster than anything else on it. That tip isn't strong, it's just the last in line, and it inherits all the speed that built up before it. That's basically what a great golf swing is. Your body is the whip, and the club head is the tip. Are you getting this visual? Here's how it actually works in a good golf swing. On a downswing, the hip starts moving first, just a small bump towards the target. Then, as the hip slows down, the torso takes over and starts rotating faster. And as the torso slows, the arms speed up. And finally, the arms slow down and the club itself goes screaming through the last at the highest speed of anything in the whole chain. Hips, then torso, then arms, then club. Each piece hands off its speed to the next one, kind of like a relay race where every runner is a little faster than the last. Now here's where it gets more interesting because researchers have actually measured this in real pros using motion capture, the same kind of tech they use in video games and movies. And what they found is that the best players in the world are remarkably consistent with this order. Hips first, torso second, arm third, club last. Every single time. But amateur golfers, a lot of them get it backwards. They tend to fire their arms early, sometimes almost at the same time as the hips, or even before the hips get going. And when that happens, you lose the whip effect completely. It's like trying to crack a whip by yanking the tip instead of the handle. Just doesn't work the same way. This is actually the science behind something you probably heard a golf instructor call casting, or coming over the top, or hitting from the top. All different names, same root problem. The arms and the clubs are trying to do the job that lower body was supposed to start. And when the sequence breaks down like that, you don't just lose power, you usually lose consistency, because now your arms and your hands are scrambling to square the club face at the last second instead of just writing a sequence that was already set up correctly. So how do you actually feel this in your swing? Here's a real golf application. And I want to keep this simple because the sequence itself is honestly not something you can consciously micromanage while you're swinging. Nobody's out there thinking hips, torso, arm, club in real time. Instead, try this. On the range, hit a few shots where you deliberately start your downswing by shifting your weight and bumping your hips towards the target before your arms do anything at all. It might feel like you're starting the swing late with your upper body, almost uncomfortably late. That feeling is usually a good sign. A lot of golfers who make this change say the ball goes farther with what it feels like less effort. And that's not a coincidence. That's just the whip finally working the way it's supposed to. Another good way to feel it is to exaggerate the pause. At the top of your swing, hold for just half a beat longer than normal. Then start down with your hips, not your hands. That little pause makes it almost impossible for your arms to jump the line, and it gives you the lower body a clean head start. It'll feel slow at first, but it's not. It's just correct. Just watch and imitate Cameron Young and Hideki Matsuyama. If it's good enough for them, I think it'll be good enough for us. And here's a bigger lesson underneath all of this, and it's honestly one of my favorite ideas in the whole game. Power in golf doesn't come from any one body part trying hard. It comes from a sequence and timing and letting each part do its job at the right moment, not all at once. That's true on the golf course, and if you think about it, it's kind of true in a lot of things. The people who look effortlessly usually aren't doing less work. They're doing things in the right order. So next time you're on the range, forget about swinging harder for a second. Just ask yourself what moves first. Get that answer right, and the power tends to take care of itself. Thanks for tuning in, everyone. Talk to you next time. Until then, let your hip go first, and the rest will follow. Bye for now.